Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, July 21st, 2017.
Commissioner Rivas, Repenning, James, and Davis is present. President James, we do have a quorum. May we start with bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Morning, Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Sefi Wiles, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Hee-Sang Kim, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Steve Chen, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Dr. Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we received speaker cards under general public comment. We have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comments section. We also received speaker cards on all the items for today's agenda, and also an email was received for item number 8.
Okay, so we have some housekeeping to do on items 1 through 8, but I want to give AT&T a little bit more time to get here this morning on 1 through 7. So let's handle number 8 first. Council District 11 tree removal, 3625 through 3760 block of Centinela Avenue. There's been a request by the council office on agenda item number 8 that we continue it 2 weeks to give the council office some additional time to work with the Bureau of Street Services to see if any of the proposed trees can be saved. I would just say for the record as we go forward, if that, I don't see how that, just for some of the people that are listening in online, I don't see how that's going to be a possibility on these sidewalks. These sidewalks are some of the worst that I've seen in our sidewalk repair program as a result of very mature and yes, beautiful ficus trees, but because of the maturity and the beauty of these ficus trees, the council office is going to work with the Bureau of Street Services to see if there's a way to save some of the trees that are proposed for removal. So the item will be continued 2 weeks from today, which I believe, Dr. Campos, is that August 4th?
That is Friday, August 4th, yes.
Okay, so Friday, August 4th, 2017 for the continuance of agenda item number 8. Let's start this morning with our certificate of recognition. Commissioner Rivas will start. This is to Tyler Giddens for Kids Ocean Day Poetry Contest. Commissioner Rivas, we will start with you for this presentation.
Thank you, President James, fellow commissioners. I'm very excited today to introduce you to Tyler Giddens. She was a 3rd grader last year at Brentwood Science Magnet, and she won the poetry contest for Kids Ocean Day. Kids Ocean Day is an annual event that is organized by the Malibu Foundation and also works with the city and LA Sanitation and others to bring this event to Dockweiler Beach. This year was the 24th annual event. We had almost 5,000 kids from all over Los Angeles attend, and it's the culmination of a year-long program where kids learn about the environment, the importance of recycling, and why it's important to keep our oceans clean. So at the very end of the year in May, all of these kids, most of them elementary school students, go to Dockweiler Beach. They clean the beach, pick up trash and other litter, and then what they do is form a message via, like aerial art. So with their bodies, they form a whole message, which I've included some photos on your on your desk of this year, where the theme was Come Together. So come together for the ocean. So all 5,000 kids form that message, and then a helicopter flies over and takes a picture. But when I heard Tyler recite her poem, which she decided to do it as a song, I decided to invite her to the board and recognize her because her enthusiasm at such a young age to keep our oceans clean and learn about recycling was very evident. and I thought all of us should hear. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Tyler Giddens, and she will sing her song, Come Together for the Ocean.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas.
Okay, here too. Thank you. Okay, so you can.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How old are you?
8 years old.
8 years old. Well, welcome to City Hall this morning.
Thank you.
Go right ahead.
Coming together for the ocean, helping the little fishies live. Coming together for the ocean, digging and digging, looking for pollution. No smoking, no littering, no smog, no anything. Don't pollute the ocean, help me, my little friend. Don't hurt the ocean, my little friends. Just make it as spotless as little hands. Just keep it clean, 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 clean. And neat, 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 neat. Oh, yeah.
Now, Tyler, I want you to look right over there and see all those other young people that have come in this morning since you arrived. So that was wonderful, and there are young people throughout the room this morning. So thank you for the work that you did around Kids Ocean Day, and the song was just terrific. The poem was excellent. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Davis.
And Tyler, how old are you again?
8 years
And
old.
what grade are you in?
Third.
The third grade. Well, I want to thank you for a great song, and I think that you'll be the next recording artist coming out of our community, and we really appreciate it. And not only was it a great song in terms of the tune and the sound, but it was a very informative message that you gave us in the song about how we need to protect our ocean and how it's important for us to value our environment. And I think so often we just simply forget when we're walking down the sand on the coast of the ocean and we have food or whatever we have in wrappers and drop it on the ocean and it goes into the water, and it not only makes the water look bad, but it destroys the living organisms in the ocean. And I think all of this is really reflected in the song you gave us. So I thank you for a great song, and I thank you most of all for a great message. So thank you so very much for your very important contribution today.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Rapini.
Sure, Tyler, I also just want to thank you for coming in today. It takes actually a lot of bravery to talk into a microphone, much less to sing into a microphone in a crowded, big room like this. So, number one, thank you for your bravery and your courage to come up and perform. And it was beautiful. We know we'll be seeing and hearing more of you. And I also want to thank you for your environmental message, because it's really with the leadership of young people like you that we're going to really manage to make sure that we preserve our planet and our beaches for future generations.
Thank you, Commissioner Rapini. So we're going to take just a brief recess from our agenda because, Tyler, we're hoping that you'll take a picture with us with your certificate. You will? Okay, great. So we'll take one break, all right? And whoever whoever you brought with you as well, of course.
Oh, yeah, the certificate. So we're presenting the certificate on behalf from the Board of Public Works. We're honoring Tyler Giddens, 2017 Kids Ocean Day Poetry Contest winner. Thank you for caring about the environment by sharing your song, Come Together for the Ocean. So this is for you. Thank you.
Commissioner Rivas, I have a quick question for you. So was she able to be at the event, the Ocean Day event?
Yes,
So,
she was there, and that's where she first sang her song to the public.
which is amazing because one of the things that, and I am a beneficiary of this art, as you may know, from various years in my office, I have a collage of framed photographs from various ocean days over the years, and the message every year that people make themselves, this, that you need a helicopter. I saw you in the helicopter.
Yes, I got to ride the helicopter and see that from above.
To photograph, and see it from above.
Beautiful,
and
beautiful.
It really does get, it raises incredible awareness because it gets amazing attention worldwide. So thank you for that. And Tyler, that must have been a lot of fun to be out there, huh? All right, so let's take a quick photograph. Commissioner Rivas, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know it's outrageous. Going back on our agenda, we have one more presentation today before we get to our items to vote on. We have an introduction, the Bureau of Sanitation, of Higher LA's youth and summer interns to the Engineering and Science program. Mr. Simpson, come forward, sir. Welcome.
Welcome.
Good to see you again on this excellent occasion.
Good morning, Board President, Board members, and Bureau Executive. I'm from the LA Sanitation, and we're pleased to present our 30 kids that we selected for our sites program.
We also have our the director of the Bureau of Sanitation, Enrique Zaldivar, here as well.
Oh,
Enrique,
just arrived. Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure we all knew that. So
I'll
Enrique,
cut my
come on up.
Words short today. So I just want to first talk about, there was 150 applicants, and we boiled it down to 30 students. These 30 students represent City of Los Angeles all the way from San Pedro to the far reaches of the valley. I'd like to also thank staff for making this happen. Sonny, Eric, and Rhonda, could you guys stand up? Without them, we could get these 30 students in. This is a record year for LA San.
Mr. Simpson, one moment.
Students today.
Can I just get real quick before we? It looks like we have a group, a tour group. Ma'am, the tour group. Where are they from? Oh, wonderful. Were you part of the, was this related to the delegation that has been here the last couple of days?
No,
Oh.
we are on a study tour here, and there are 27 students here and 3 teachers here.
Oh,
We
wonderful.
are from China, Beijing.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. And
Yay.
this,
We feel so excited to be here.
Well-
to see you in person, like working here.
oh, thanks. So
Yeah.
the room that we're in, obviously we handle the public works for the city, but this room is used, I met yesterday with a delegation from China on the film and television and animation on those issues, and this room is a room that is in a lot of television and shows and movies.
Wow.
So it's filmed a lot in regular movies and TV shows. So I always like to tell visitors that they're also not only in part of city government, but you're in a bit of Hollywood as well.
Wow, we will go to Hollywood.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, have a wonderful time, and thank you for being here. Hey, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. I just wanted to get a sense of who they were before they were moved on to their next location. So go ahead, sir.
So this is a record year for LA SAN. We had 30 students this year. Along with our partners, LA Unified School District and EWDD, we put the program together. Workforce development is a big issue for LA SAN and also the city as a whole. We need young people to come, take over, and work our careers as some of us retire. We're the only department in the city that actually can take somebody from high school, hire them as a student engineer, and hire them as a full-time engineer. We're proud of that fact. We've created a pipeline that everybody dreams of, where we can take a youngster in 12th grade and see him all the way through to actually get one of our professional jobs at the end. We have that pipeline. Things that they learn briefly is recycling water. We're talking about green infrastructure. We also show them our award-winning zero waste program. With that, I'll yield some words for our director here, Enrique. He might want to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. Mr. Zaldivar. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President and commissioners. This is something that is very special to all of us in sanitation. Michael said it very well. We follow in your leadership. I know all of you speak about being able to reach into the community, do that early intercept of kids who get inspired to, at some point, run our departments, run our city. This is exactly where it all begins. I mean, sometimes we believe we can inspire at a younger age, and we do that through some of our general education outreach opportunities at the ELC. But when it comes to employment, and when it comes to being able to inspire a young kid on what they can be and what they can become, this program is it. And we stretch ourselves to try to make it bigger. 30 students this year. We care deeply about the quality of the engagement so that every one of our students not only feels that they're being productive by being given meaningful work, but also that the mentorship occurs. And that mentorship requires that the mentor have the time. And so we are careful on how we grow it. 30, every year we stretch it, and as we grow our own capacity to provide the right opportunity, then we will continue to grow it. But we appreciate all of you, the commissioner's leadership, because I know for a fact that every one of you cares deeply about this. So this is our opportunity to thank also the folks who make it happen. It is voluntary in a way. Michael Simpson, every year, Rhonda Dowdy, Sonny. Without them, there's no way that we could have it be implemented. And yet every year they step up, and every year they do it better. So thank you for your leadership. We do it because we realize that this is important for the commission, for the mayor, for the council. So thank you, and thank the students. I think their own testimony will tell you what this experience has been like. We always want it to be meaningful and productive. Thank you.
Thank you, Enrique. Commissioner Repenning? Enrique, are we going
to hear from some of the students, or?
any of the students? Yes. If you, I don't know if
Let's do
there's.
that.
Yeah. Before
let's do that
before we
now.
start with Commissioner Repenning.
We have 30. Would you like 5, okay? Every one of them?
No. We don't have time for everyone. Give us 3 of them that are willing to speak.
Okay, very good.
Want to talk about their
3
experience?
hands. Herman?
Yay for volunteers.
Don't you wish? All right.
Yeah, they speak. They're not. They speak a lot.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for stepping up.
Yeah, I would just like to say thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity. I feel like this internship is more practical than other jobs. As a 16-year-old, I could get a job at McDonald's, but I feel like this is more practical because I'm getting acclimated into the workplace, and I'll learn how to work with other people and work together as a team and just as a unit. And so I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. What's your name?
I'm Ethan Williamson.
All right, thank you. Yay.
Good morning. My name is Tabasum Malam, and I'm a rising senior at Bravo Medical Magnet High School. It's been a pleasure working through this internship. I believe that it's given all of us a significant chance and opportunity to understand what the real life world could be, and probably even give us an insight about the life of an engineer and what we could do in this career path. I'm thankful for every single one who has provided us with this opportunity. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Ramon Rocco. I'm a rising senior at Sherman Oaks CES. In this internship, I believe I got a wonderful experience being part of a program, being part of a team where we would work for Clean Streets LA. I got plenty of experience working in the department where everyone was able to focus on their individual strengths. And being part of this team, I felt as if I got a thorough experience of what the actual workforce is like, more so than if I simply went to McDonald's or Burger King nearby house. I was able to work in LA sanitation, and this feels like an accomplishment. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Quinn Corcoran. I've been working for the Industrial Waste Management Division of the Bureau of Sanitation. And through this program, I have had the opportunity to gain exposure to city work, the workplace environment, and the opportunities available. I very much appreciated this opportunity to work with many senior members of the Bureau of Sanitation, and it's opened my eyes to possible career opportunities. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mihan Chaudhary. I'm going to become a junior at Van Nuys High School. And so when I came into this program, I was very unsure about what I was going to do with my future, like where I was going to work or like what kind of field. But then this internship showed me like how amazing working for the city is. Like I was thinking about going into the private field, but then looking at how the people in the cubicles worked, it was like a family, kind of, sort of. And I was like, I want to be part of this family. And they look happy when they work. They're like, I want to like get this stuff done. It inspired me. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. You make our jobs so worth it, guys. I'm going to start with Commissioner Repenning because as the president of the board, I want to go last. Commissioner Repenning.
Sure. I just want to thank, first of all, I want to thank Sanitation for organizing this. I think it's a really important thing that we do. Enrique, thank you. Michael, Veretta, who else? I see Sunny. The fact that you guys put the time and energy into these young people, it's such a worthwhile investment. So thank you, first of all, for making sure that this happens. I know that it's a good way to support our mayor's call for youth summer jobs, and it's also a good way to support our mayor's interest in career ladders and career pathways, and making sure that our young people are trained for the jobs of the future. For us internally, I think it's an important way to address what we all care about, which is diversity in the field of engineering, including gender diversity. But I think for me, I think even hearing from the participants of the program, I know firsthand how eye-opening it can be to see what all of the things that we do as a city. We have such a big impact, particularly on the environment, and I think to expose young people to how important that is and how meaningful work in the public sector or meaningful work in an environmental field can be, how satisfying it can be, I think is something that, and it sounded to me from their comments that it's something that will stay with them, and I think it will, hopefully with some of you guys in the future, we'll see you, taking this experience and having that shape what you decide to do with your time and your career in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Repenning. Commissioner Rivas.
Thank you. I want to thank the team that makes this possible, especially Michael and Sunny, Veretta. I've talked to you before, and I see the passion you have to keep this program going and to inspire our youth. So thank you. Thanks, Enrique, for supporting this. And 40% of our department is eligible to retire this year. And so we really need engineers and scientists. We're going to be hiring a lot. And I'm glad you have this early experience to learn about potential careers and to guide you through your college studies. I was an engineer. I studied engineering, and I'm so jealous of all of you that you've already had an internship in high school, because I never had that opportunity. I just went straight into college without any experience. And you already have met a lot of engineers. You've done projects working with engineers, so you already have some idea of what it can be like. And so I hope that this helps you in your future. And please come back. And if you need more, keep in touch with your mentors, because it's very important to have them as a reference or to help you out in the future. So please keep in touch with everyone, and thank you for participating in this program.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Davis.
Yes, to our director of the Bureau of Sanitation and to Michael Veretta and the entire team and leadership who has put this program together. This truly is one of the bright stars in our Department of Public Works, really helping to develop the pipeline for the next generation of engineers is critically important. Commissioner Repenning mentioned the fact that the mayor has a summer program where we have over 10,000 young people working, and while we have been doing this for many years, this is specifically what the mayor is talking about in his Back to Basics when he says create jobs in Los Angeles for all of Los Angeles. And that is reflected in the various backgrounds from which this year's class comes to us this year to matriculate in this internship program. You come from every community and you look just like Los Angeles. And as difficult as it is to prepare to be an engineer in terms of going to college, it still is important for us to make sure that every community of individuals who are interested in being an engineer gets an opportunity to do that. And I have to tell you that I'm very proud of what we have done in sanitation today, and it is absolutely promising that we would be as fortunate to have a class of the next generation of engineers like you serve Los Angeles in the future. So as you go off to college, maybe USC, maybe UCLA, we hope that you will not only finish those universities that you choose, but that you will come back to Los Angeles and remember the first place that you got your opportunity to be introduced to the great profession of engineering. So we thank you so much, and we thank the Bureau, and we look forward to you continuing and carrying those skills with you to your higher education. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. So I'll close it out, and then we'll take a quick photograph. So would the 5 individuals who spoke stand up for us? I think I counted 5. You guys, so our applause, you guys can sit down now. Our applause was for the whole group, but the five, you guys that didn't know you were going to speak today, you come into this, this incredible room, you walk up to the microphone and speak to city officials. Every one of you were so eloquent. I think that the presentations were better than if you had prepared, because you don't have the ability to think about the nerve-wracking situation that sometimes it can be standing up and speaking at a podium in City Hall. So you guys have such a head start. Commissioner Rivas mentioned that that she wishes that we had had internships. I'm a bit older than Commissioner Rivas, but that we'd had internships in high school. We didn't have internships that I knew of when I was in high school a long time ago, but we did when I was in college. And I remember every internship that I had, because I had them every single summer. And they are so important as they shape you as you plan your future. You guys have such a head start to have been able to do it in high school. So thank you for participating in our city's program. This is such a priority for our mayor. I've been in numerous meetings with him, 2 of them just this week, where he has asked for and put pressure on, frankly, industries to step into our Higher LA's youth program. And we really want to strike an incredible balance between public sector, obviously, which you're doing now, and Enrique and Mike, Brett, your team. Thank you all for your work every year. You grow this program every year. You are just really a standout department for the city of Los Angeles in the work that you do through this program, and we really appreciate it. Our other bureaus do it as well. But today we're focusing on you. You brought your team here, and it's just been, you're a standout in the program, which the mayor's very aware and appreciates. And it's been we work hard to get balance in public sector and private sector, because we want young people like you to have those choices. And those of you that are, you're all pretty young. I think are you all in high school? Everybody in high school, which is excellent. Come back again. All right, and there are other parts of the program that you can apply for and have the opportunity to participate in, or even if it's not our program, there are other internship programs throughout the city of Los Angeles, and you really do widen your horizons. So thank you all for participating in the program. I was sitting there thinking, summers when I was in high school, you guys are more mature than I was. Getting up early and getting dressed for a job, not so much for me maybe, but I'm thrilled to see you all doing it, and it really demonstrates your commitment to your community, and it tells us that we have a bright future. And I was just laughing earlier when you guys were up here, because frankly I couldn't believe what a good job you guys did with your presentation skills at such a young age. So we're in for a very bright future. Thank you all. Thank you, sanitation. We'll take a quick break, Veretta, for a photograph. Probably in the back, according to our photography choreographer there. And then we'll get back on our agenda. Thank you. So everyone that's involved in the program, thank you. Okay, Dr. Campos, are we ready to go?
Yes, we are.
All right, is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Monday, June 26, 2017? By Commissioner Repenning, any objection? Okay, without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. Let's have Mr. Ledoux, could we have you? So agenda items 1 through 7 are all of the above-ground facility items that are all in Council District 14, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we received a request. I thought AT&T, maybe I had a miscommunication with them. I spoke to a couple of the representatives from AT&T yesterday morning, and I thought they were going to appear today, although technically they don't have to, because we have agreed to a requested continuance by both AT&T and the council office to continue these 7 items for 2 more weeks to August 4th. That's a date they asked for.
Yes.
Okay. They have agreed, and we have an email communication. I'm on the email communication. You have it. They have agreed to toll the shot clock for an additional 2 weeks, which is beyond whenever the shot clock would have run, so we don't lose any time for this continuance for what we hope is a completion of this, I'll call it a global settlement in Council District 14 for the installation of the subject above-ground facilities.
Yes.
My goal and my message to the council office would be that we complete the agreement on, we have 15 of them, I'm told. I thought there were 14. There are 15, right, Dr. Campos?
That is correct, 15.
Okay. So we have 8 others that I want to address in a moment. So for the 7 that are on today's agenda, they will be continued to August 4th with the 2-week shot clock continuance. What I was going to ask AT&T for this morning was the same agreement, which I know they'll give us. They gave it to us on the first 7. The same agreement regarding these other 8. And I don't have them here to get the oral agreement. So what I would like for you to do is, and we'll agendize the other 8. Dr. Campos, I'd like to agendize the other 8 for August the 9th. That's a Wednesday, correct?
That is correct, Wednesday,
Okay.
August 9th.
And, well, excuse me, except for 2 of them. 2 of them we're going to place on the agenda. What day are we placing 6th Street and San Pedro Street on the agenda?
We will agendize those on a supplemental on Wednesday, August 26th.
Okay.
I'm sorry, July 26th.
Okay, so 2 of them are going to be on for Wednesday, July 26th. But all this is, the only thing that's relevant for you, Mr. Ledoux, is all 8 of them eventually are going to be agendized for August the 9th. The reason is I want the global settlement, if at all possible, completed by August 11th. And the word I have, the understanding, at least from AT&T, everybody seems to think that that's doable.
Yes, they do.
Okay, so so with the goal being of having it done by August 11th, we'll agendize the remaining 8 for August the 9th. These 7 are going to be on for August the 4th. The 2 that we mentioned that are going to be on the agenda for Wednesday, those are 2 that have a shorter window on the shot clock. And so I want to get them on the agenda just procedurally. But once we get a confirmation email from AT&T, probably today or tomorrow, on the other 8, then we'll move those aside to the August 9th date. But I just want to stay inside the window until we get the email from AT&T on the remaining 8.
Okay, so those 2 will probably be when they come to board, because I'm not going to be here next
They'll
week.
only be on the agenda in ink only. Okay, because I expect that those 2 will join the family that's going to be heard on August the 9th.
One of the options, Mr. President, that you could consider is instructing the Bureau of Engineering to reach out to AT&T to get a written agreement to toll all 8 remaining for
Well, that's what
August
I'm
the
asking
9th. And
for.
if we can get that before the end of today, we would
Then we
not
won't
need
post
to
it.
supplement the
Yeah.
agenda for Wednesday.
That's true. If you get the, thank you, Fernando. If you get the agreement on all 8 by the end of today, then we don't even have to put those other 2 on for Wednesday.
Okay. Can you email me what those 8 are?
I'd be more than happy to share with you all the locations, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we're all clear on that?
Yes.
Okay, so for our purposes today, thank you, Jeff. So our purposes today will be that items 1 through 7 are continued to August 4th, 2017. Agenda item number 8, we have continued already. That takes us to agenda item number 9, Council District 13, tree removal, 1811 West Ripple Street. This is for the sidewalk repair program. Recommending that the board first find that the tree removal classifies as operation, repair, maintenance, or minor alteration of existing street, sidewalk, and gutter involving negligible or no expansion of use beyond that previously existing and does not involve the removal of a scenic resource. Secondly, that the action is exempt under Article 3, Section 1, Class 1, Category 3, existing facilities, sidewalk repair, or maintenance of the City of Los Angeles Environmental Quality Act guidelines from 2002, and 3, that none of the exceptions to the use of a categorical exemption as set forth in Section 15300.2 of the state CEQA guidelines apply, and secondly, review and approve the tree removal permit request for the removal of 11 trees located at 1811 West Ripple Street for the reconstruction of an off-grade sidewalk. Tree replacements are required on number 9. And who do I have here for agenda item number 9? Mr. Tyson. There you are, sir.
Morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, City Attorney, and
Oh,
Executive
Mr.
Officer.
Tyson, I'm sorry, as I'm reminded, we do have speaker cards first. Thank you. That's probably why you hesitated. Let me start with Mr. Herman. You have a card in on number 9? All right, well, here we go. There you go. At long last.
Good morning, everybody in Los Angeles. I'd like to remind you of my constitutional civil liberty rights to speak. And since I'm finding it troubling to remove these trees and not follow the guidelines of Willits versus Los Angeles, I have one thing to say to CD 13 on item 9. Fuck you! Fix my fucking sidewalks and streets, motherfuckers! What the fuck's wrong with you? $30 million a year and you can't fix one goddamn fucking sidewalk or street or curb or ramp? That's what you niggas like. You like people to come in here and use intensifiers to criticize white niggas like you. So I'm not here just to wave my hands in the air like a retarded man. I got no shame in calling myself retarded, Mr. Davis. After all, Danny Bakewell calls us racist because we look like fucking KKK. Clarence Brandenburg versus Ohio, 395 U.S. 444, 1969. Fuck you all. Fix my fucking sidewalks, build around them, make alternative routes, do something, but don't fucking backfill black asphalt on top of the fucking sidewalks, creating an existing problem. You should have a clock up here because I don't know what fucking time I have when I'm speaking for 2 fucking minutes. Usually that white nigger Herman Jason Jr. just gives me 1 minute of fucking public comment. That fucking asshole. Quote unquote, thank you, miss. What's that bitch name from the county board of supervisor? You guys know who she is. I see you laughing. You know her name. She called
2
them
minutes.
assholes.
Mr. Spindler, you have a card in for your puppet on number 9.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so fuck killing trees. We do not want any more trees being killed by the murderers in the Department of Building and Safety and the Planning Commission. and the sidewalk devil known as anti-tree willets. So what you do is you're using the sidewalk repair program to kill innocent trees. You do not like trees. Why don't you like trees? Because you do not want animals like me to have a place to live. You want homeless squirrels, homeless birds, roaming the fucking streets, flying around looking for a tree, but there's no trees. Crime goes up in areas that have no trees. Did you know that? No, of course. The only thing that Davis can do is look at his laptop in shame. Because last year he was so proud with Danny Bakewell in front of the LA Sentinel, slandering and placing Mr. Spindler in a false light. Showing people in a hood, claiming that's a person in the hood handing a speaker card to the African American president. Bullshit! Just like this item is bullshit. No trees need to be killed. No trees must be killed. But you want to kill the trees to save maintenance costs to defer the $30 million a year under Willits. And I told you this was going to happen. Mitch O'Farrell, what is he? A tap dancing little queer that doesn't know shit about trees either. He used to be on a ship liner, tap dancing like this.
I'm a tap dancer. My name's Mitch O'Farrell. I met Eric Garcetti. We had sex. Then I got a job as a staffer.
2 minutes.
And then I
Tyson
became a
on agenda
councilman.
item number 9. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. The Bureau of Engineering is the lead agency in identifying defective sidewalks at several locations throughout the city of Los Angeles as part of the citywide sidewalk repair program. The Bureau of Engineering and its contractors are working in close collaboration with the Bureau of Street Services in addressing these potential impacts to the street trees adjacent to the targeted locations. The Bureau of Engineering representative contacted the Bureau of Street Services in reference to reconstruction of off-grade sidewalk conditions at 1811 Ripple Street. The Bureau arborist inspected the subject location on May 31st, 2017. The inspection revealed 11 cinnamon camphora trees measuring approximately 24 to 36 inches in diameter at chest height by approximately 30 feet in height, growing in 4 by 6 foot tree wells. The trees are actually growing on, there's 3 trees on Queen Street side, there's 5 on the Ripple Street, which is the address side, in front of, and on the Bendick side, there are 3 other trees constituting the 11 trees. Several of the trees are in various states of decline through the crowns due to prior root pruning that took place to put in small little sections of the sidewalk a few years back, maybe 5, 6 years. And so with that is an example of exactly why I'm going to talk about root pruning the trees on 2 sides. It's not recommendable for safety of the public for the main reason, and the other reasons are it does detrimental for the trees. So on the Bendick Street side, the sidewalk is actually only 3 feet wide. So therefore, in order to root prune those trees, you'd be cutting right into the main stem of the tree. Again, those 3 trees need to be removed for that. The other trees on the Ripple Street and the Bendick side, they have had prior root pruning and won't sustain root pruning again, and as well fixing the curb and gutters that are damaged and being pushed down by the trees' sizes. The main stems of the trees are actually all the way over the curb in some of the trees, and they've filled their area that they've been given to survive. Some of them are actually under energized wires as well, and are being what we call directionally pruned, and that's where they make a big V in the tree like this. And so those trees are really not worthy candidates either to be saved. The sidewalks are going to be removed or replaced due to the uplift and severe disruption by the roots and root crowns of the subject trees. The trees have severely outgrown their growing space and the defective conditions are prevalent throughout the area. Marisol Rodriguez, District Director, Council District 13, was informed of the tree removal request on July 6, 2017. Notices of the proposed tree removals were physically posted on the subject trees on February 16, 2017. Proposed tree removals were included in the Bureau of Street Services tree removal notification system, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee was notified as well. All tree replacements will comply with the Board of Public Works 2-to-1 tree replacement policy. 9 24-inch box size Natch crepe myrtle trees to be replanted at 1811 Ripple Street on the Queen Street side. Those are white in color. 3 24-inch box size Chinese fringe trees to be replanted at 1811 Ripple Street on the Bendick side. And then there's 10 24-inch box size lavender crepe myrtle trees that would be planted. I'm sorry, the Chinese fringe are on the Queen Street, are on the Ripple Street side, and the last 10 24-inch box crepe myrtle trees are on the Bendick side. And those are lavender in color. All trees shall be planted by the Office of Community Beautification or its contractors, and the Urban Forestry Division shall begin watering weekly of the tree replacements upon tree planting confirmation from the Office of Community Beautification. The tree watering shall continue for a 3-year period. And for the reasons I presented, I'm here to ask the board consider approving the request for the trees to be removed.
Any questions at all for Mr. Tyson on number 9? Thank you, Tim, for the report. I don't have any questions. These trees have to go. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 9. Is there a second on number 9? Commissioner Repenning, any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 9. Any issue sending number 9 forthwith? We will send number 9 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 10, a contract amendment for the Los Angeles Conservation Corps, recommending that the board authorize the Office of Community Beautification to amend an existing contract with the Los Angeles Conservation Corps in the amount of $180,000 for supplemental cleanup and community beautification services in Council District 1. Secondly, authorize myself or 2 members of the board to execute the contract amendment after approval as to form has been obtained by the City Attorney's Office. Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 10.
You know, the Honorable Mr. Cedillo really knows how to commit to a community beautification program. I see his service as one executed with great expertise. Have you been to his community? Have you seen the Los Feliz area along the LA River? All those goddamn homeless people sleeping down in the LA River, dumping their fucking trash all over the place. Yeah, that's lovely. That's a lovely sight. That's why we need these goddamn people out there to clean and beautify the community. So I'm demanding that we double the amount for the Gentlemen Conservation Cleanup Support Corps to get these young motherfuckers to work. Isn't that why I'm here? Because I can't work. I'm a white nigger according to the papers that I signed under my birth certificate. But you all look at my nasty dark color and you confuse me for a homeless man. You see me with my service dog, you look down on me because I'm a homeless man from 2008. I try to beautify Boyle Heights, but white niggas kick me out of my community. White niggas make me mean, make me mad. But I don't dislike anyone. It's nothing personal, Mr. Danny Bakewell. You should write articles about what they did to Herman in 2008, making a little white boy nigger like me homeless. Then maybe you could understand why I come in here to work. Now, what you did to the so-called Antichrist Wayne Spindler, I find that in opposition because Mr. Spindler's been a great job in making beautification to the community. He's supportive, he interacts, he mediates on behalf of the public's interest, but yet white niggas want him
2
not
minutes.
to speak.
Well, Mr. Spindler has a card in on agenda item number 10 under the name Puppet. So, Mr. Spindler, there you go.
Yeah, that's right. And I just like to say number 10, CD1. Now, I know I got a bunch of my fellow black people living on South Coronado between 8th Street and James M. Woods, behind this building on Hoover Street at 852 South Hoover. See, 852 South Hoover has been owned by a bunch of white motherfuckers going back to the 50s. And that white motherfucker won't sell that building to the developers, and he fought an eminent domain action against the LAUSD because they wanted to take the building for administrative building, and his aunt kicked the LAUSD's ass in 1984. So now they got a big old homeless encampment sitting there blocking the sidewalk for the past 2.5 years. Yes, sir. We're going to get that white man. His name is Wayne Spindler. I read about him in the LA Sentinel, and I know that they're putting that homeless encampment behind his building on the back street of Coronado on purpose, and I'm agreeing with it. And I think they should put more motherfucking homeless back there, threatening his life. Yes, sir, they threaten him. He can't move his tent. He got the LAPD over there. The LAPD say, well, Gil Cedillo's office tells us to stay. So we's going to keep staying in our tents behind Mr. Spindler's building. And Mr. Spindler's never going to find out that this is a coordinated retaliation effort using homeless, selling drugs, committing crime behind his building and terrorizing the area of South Coronado on the 800 block between 8th and James M. Woods because a goddamn board of Public Works ain't going to come out and clean it up because you ain't going to do it because you're trying to drive Mr. Spindler out of the fucking city. And that has been so successful, hasn't it? Because Wayne Spindler ain't going to go to federal court. Wayne Spindler ain't going to file no summary judgment. Wayne Spindler ain't even in the room. So we just here talking about that white motherfucker.
Anna from the Office of Community Beautification. Ms. Huizar, go ahead. On a contract amendment.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Good morning, President, Commissioners, and board members and executives. I'm Anna Huizar. I'm with the Office of Community Beautification, filling in for Paul Roach today. So today the Office of Community Beautification is requesting authorization to execute a contract amendment with LACC in the amount of $180,000 for supplemental services, community beautification services in Council District 1. So this funding actually allows for an additional cleanup crew in Council District 1, an area that is highly impacted. And this crew is made up of 1 full-time supervisor and 3 core members, and all of which are residents of CD1. Some of the responsibilities that this includes is weed abatement, tree maintenance, loose litter removal, bulky item pickup, cleanup along the LA River, and this also includes river tours, and any other assignments at the discretion of Council District 1. So not only does this funding also promote local hiring, but it really allows CD1 to be safe and cleaner. So we're hoping to get that $180,000 authorization for that.
Excellent. Any questions? I don't have any questions. Thank you. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 10, seconded by Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 10. Any issues sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice weekend.
You too.
Agenda item number 11. Council Districts 135, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, Sidewalk Repair Program, Package number 22. Recommending that the board authorize the correction to transfer $47,427 from Fund number 100, Department number 82, Appropriation Unit number 001010, to Fund number 511, Department number 50, our department, Appropriation Unit number 50NS61. This is for the construction of the Green Street Parkway swale, thus negating the need for a loan from the Public Works Trust Fund, which is always good. On agenda item number 11, Mr. Herman, you have a card.
Now on this proposal, I notice there's no Council District 9 or 15 or 8. And usually it's, as usual, minority neighborhoods where niggers don't get money. But I think there should be a Green Street Parkway for all council districts. None of this reprisal of retaliation against African Americans, after all. They have rights too, constitutional rights, not to live in the squandered disrepair of maintenance sidewalks. I'll tell you about a sidewalk right there in Boyle Heights, Mr. Fuckhead Weezaw. I'm talking about what the Federal Highway Administration asked you to do. Fix the fucking sidewalks off of the Soto corridor by USC. Maybe if that fucking dumbass doctor wasn't fucking around with prostitutes, he could have helped you fix the fucking sidewalks and streets. Instead, USC rather fuck prostitutes, take drugs, and abuse alcohol instead of working together to build a community of sidewalks and streets. Woolitz versus Los Angeles, Barden versus Sacramento, and on behalf of all of us in the United States of America, fuck you for sidewalk repairs. Get out there on 4200 Zonal Street and fix the fucking sidewalk. In addition to that, clean up the sidewalk so the debris, the trash, all the fucking chanchero off of 4200 Verde between Zono gets cleaned up. I'm not irrational. I'm just asking for you stupid motherfuckers to clean the sidewalks.
2 minutes.
Mr. Spindler, you have a card in on number 11 under your term puppet.
So the first thing I'd like to say is, where's the money in CD 15 for Watts in the 110 corridor? Oh, we got a celebrity, David. So now, where is the money in CD 8 on this motion? Where is the money on CD 9? These are the main majority African American communities. There ain't a goddamn dollar under number 11 for any African American communities in this goddamn city. As now what's happened here is Davis done turned the cheek. Davis done turned the cheek. He done shading the poor black communities, not giving them money for sidewalk repair. I drove down Central Avenue. I drove down those streets, north and south of the 10 freeway, Jefferson Boulevard. The goddamn place looks like it's burned out and back in Beirut, fool. And ain't no money for no African-American sidewalk repair in any of these motherfucking goddamn districts in 8, 9, and 15. How come black folks be leaving out? We got some black folk here on the panel, and he don't say a goddamn word. Is they goddamn selling out, they goddamn putting people up saying they KKK, but the real motherfucking KKK is the motherfucking money not being spent in the African-American community in CD 8, 9, and 15. And I submit that for the record. It is a known fact that there ain't a dime for any African-American community in this, and I am outraged, and I know Danny Bakewell don't give a fuck because he'd be right here right now saying the same thing I'm saying.
Souter on agenda item number 11. Julie? Sorry if you couldn't hear me. I'm Ms. Souter on agenda item number.
No problem. Good morning. Julie Souter with the Bureau of Engineering. And this motion is, as mentioned, it's a clarification of a prior board action.
It's getting our accounting straight, right?
Right. It's just to, for clarification and to put it on the record, the changes in the accounting transfer.
Okay.
And basically, that was done through when it was going through the council reporting committee process.
I'm informed by Mr. Campos that we should amend to release the Public Works Trust Fund loan approval in the amount of $55,000 because we don't need it, correct?
Correct.
Right. Is that right, Mr. Campos?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, so any questions for Julie on agenda item number 11? I don't have any questions, so I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 11 as amended as I just described. Is there a second on that, Commissioner Penning and Commissioner Davis? Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 11. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any issue sitting number 11 forthwith? We will send number 11 forthwith. Number 12 in Council District 10, a bid extension for the Manchester Junior Arts Center and Vision Theater. Recommending that the board grant the request to extend the bid date from August 2nd, 2017, 4 weeks to August 30th, 2017. And on number 12, Mr. Herman, you have a card on number 12.
Well, I'm a little confused on behalf of the public's interest on this item 12 regarding CD7. Oh, I'm sorry, CD10. This is CD10. It's a known fact. We got a sellout. What's a sellout? A sellout is a politician who extends bids not on behalf of public interest, but on the trust of who other than my dear friend, Mr. Lucas. Yeah, Mr. Lucas, you know that Jew fool that wants to build that museum down there in Watts? We don't need no goddamn museum, motherfuckers. We need jobs, real jobs that we can use to build up the community of Manchester just as well with art. Ask Herman, he knows how to fucking put art up in the community. You get a can and you go out there, you spray the goddamn walls. That's art, that's a museum, that's called civil rights and liberties. But if you don't let a nigger out there to spray paint and exercise his constitutional right, how do you expect us to enjoy art? Now, when you go out there and deface it and remove it, you're taking away people's art. So leave the goddamn art extension in Manchester. Stop removing art off of walls and fences and poles. This is how you pose work. Stop eliminating and censoring political speech on our public right-of-ways. This way, people will know how fucked up CD10 really is. Thank you, you known fact sellout, Herman Jason Wesson, for the record. Fuck you!
Mr. Spindler, you have a card in on number 12 for your puppet.
You want to take it?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
Now, what we have here is CD10. Herman Jason Wesson Jr., his real name, his fake name, Herb Wesson. You know, the one in Mr. Spindler's motion for summary judgment he filed today. Yes, that's right, Davis. He's a fraud, yes. He uses a fake name. Herb Wesson is not a legal name. Mr. Wesson only uses one legal name, so Herb Wesson is a false name. He should not even be in office with a fake name. Now he's using a fake bid extension for some bullshit called Manchester Junior Arts Center Vision Theater. This was created by mainly gays and Jews in the West Side to pollute the minds of little Koreans. Yes, there's a lot of Korean people there. Little Koreans going, oh, should I become a doctor? Should I become an accountant? No. Why? Well, because we think you might have a transgender issue. Become a vision theater and explore your sexuality problem. And then they rake these people in to the transgender psychology department, yes. So it's all a plot to weaken the male. The Asian male is being weakened by these foolish things like arts. Men do not need arts. They need jobs. They need job skills. Learn fucking plumbing, for example. When you go upstairs and you try to take a shit, you can't even flush the toilet. Go over to the 2nd Street Library. The urinal has been out for 9 fucking months on the Los Angeles Street and 2nd Street.
2 minutes.
You fucking idiots.
Has Mr. Spindler's time expired this morning?
No, it has not. He has accumulated 8 minutes and has 2 minutes remaining.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ejike, I'm going to try again. Imbaraguru? Aha.
Perfected.
There we go.
After a few tries.
A little bit of practice, and here we are today.
Very much.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, we're requesting an extension from August 2nd to August 30 for the bid opening. We haven't received as many bids as we had expected, given the size of the project. We thought with this extension, we can try to do additional outreach. As a matter of fact, I'm going this afternoon to Contractors Expo at Anaheim to expose this project as well to see if we can get more participation to the project. So we are asking that we extend the bid to August 30 to enable us to get more contractors.
Any questions, Commissioner Rivas?
What do you normally do in these situations to do outreach? Like you said, you're going to an expo, but how do you encourage more bids from?
Well, we go through those who have not called in. Some of the contractors we know that normally bids on the city projects. We've been calling them on the telephone, sending them emails, and some of them have said they will, participate. We have additional job work on Tuesday, July 25th. We are also asking more of them to come. So we get on the phone, send them emails to see if they will participate.
And usually, do you think you just help clarify what the project requirements are? Because initially they're not interested, and then, or is there more information that you provide?
We don't clarify because those things we just make sure that everybody gets the same information. So that's why we don't clarify as much. However, as you look around the city, a lot of activities. So most of the contractors are very busy. So sometimes they don't have time to look at what is coming up. So as we call them, they say, wow, we don't know this is on. So just a matter of reminding them that we have projects of such.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Anything further, Commissioner Davis?
I wanted to ask, on this project, how long have we been working on this particular project?
You mean from design? It's been going on since, I believe, 2005.
And how long do we anticipate that we plan to have it finished? I know that our plans may not be reality, but obviously we have some plans. What are our plans in terms of completion of this project? Not saying that that's what it's going to be, but I'm just interested to find out what our plan is for this project.
Okay. The good thing here is that this is the final phase. We have all the design is complete, and if we can get out to bid as we are, hopefully, starting early part of next year, construction is about 2.5 years. So we're looking at sometime in 2019.
2019.
Correct.
And so we've done some work on the project already, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Just summarily, what have we done thus far on the project?
What we did was historic restoration of the building, and also extending junior.
Does that mean retrofitting?
We did retrofitting as well.
Okay.
And we also added the Junior Arts Center, which is an addition for kids programming.
Okay. Now, we're at the design phase, and you said we anticipate we've completed, what's the anticipated date for the design phase?
The design is complete.
We did complete.
Yes.
And then now we are looking and we are pursuing, what are we pursuing specifically now after the design?
Now we are pursuing the construction of the latter phase, which is the expansion of the building about 20 foot to the back, adding fly loft and other theater attachments to it.
So are we going to have to go out to bid in terms of prime contractors on the project? Or?
That's what we are going out to bid for, yes.
We're going out to bid for prime contractors?
Yes, yes.
And when do we anticipate we will post the bid?
I'm sorry?
When will we when will the RFP go out?
No, we came here, I think it was sent out July 25th, the initial advertisement. And we expected to open bid on August 2nd. However, we didn't get as many contractors. So that's why we are here now to extend it from August 2nd to August 30.
So it's a $20 million project, right?
Correct.
And we just didn't get the kind of support of those interested that we anticipated.
Correct. We want a larger pool, yes.
Okay. and I don't know if Commissioner Rivas asked that, is there some kind of feeling that we have about why there was an underrepresentation of support from our contracting community? Were there other projects, or I'm trying to figure out if we have any idea about why there was not as much feedback that we get from this project as we've received from other projects.
I think a lot of contractors are very busy lately.
I see. Yes. Okay. So we have a lot of existing projects out.
Correct.
Okay. And when we reach out to prime contractors, what is the process? We go to Bavin, or how do we do that?
Go ahead. Good morning, Neil Drucker, Bureau of Engineering. Yes, we do work through Bavin on all our bid projects. Right now, what we're seeing across the city is significant construction as we drive around downtown especially. You see cranes everywhere. You see the contractors are very busy. We've had recent conversations with other cities in and around the county of Los Angeles, as well as Orange and San Diego, and they're experiencing a similar boom in construction. It's great for our contractors, great for the economy. It's been very difficult as a city because what we're seeing is on projects that maybe 5 years ago we would get 8 to 10 bids, and almost all of them were within our construction budget available funding. Right now what we're seeing is 1 to 3 or 4 bids for those same types of projects, and many of the bids are coming in above our city engineer's estimates.
So how many bids did you get for this project?
We haven't gotten any yet. The bid date is until the 2nd of August, or at least the current bid date is until the 2nd of August. As the GK was saying, we've conducted 2 mandatory meetings, and unfortunately we've had very few contractors attend the meetings. In discussion with the city engineer, it was felt that we really needed to take special care on this one to make sure that at the end of the day we do get good bids. So as the GK said, he's actually going this afternoon to Anaheim, where there's a contractors convention, and we have a table at the convention, and he's going to try and talk to some of the contractors and potential subcontractors. In addition, to advertising through Bavin, we've literally made phone calls ourselves to probably upwards of 50 contractors and subcontractors to let them know this project is available in Bavin, to encourage them to go on the website, and also
our capacity that's great, and that's what I was looking for. Our capacity for outreach is what I'm interested in looking at. And in cases where we don't have feedback from our natural base, where we do, in fact, send a bid or a request for proposal, is there some circumstance where we go out of our regular sphere of letting out contracts to expand to a further base out of town somewhere? Because we do receive contractors and prime contractors from out of town. A lot of it's because of the subspecialty expertise and et cetera. But in cases like this, do we ever go past our base to a bigger base, perhaps?
We have, and we do, and especially in cases where we've actually received bids and the bids come in so ridiculously high, or we only receive one bid that's ridiculously high.
Have we done that here?
Then we will go statewide, and in fact sometimes
have we done
nationally.
That here? Have we done
in this case, we have not done that yet. Anaheim is going to be as far as we go.
Would we be opposed to going statewide?
Not at all, no. It's something that, again, if we don't see more interest next week, then it's something we would consider.
It appears to me that going statewide would be important to do. Number one, it's an art project. And I know that there are some organizations whose core values center around innovation and creativity. And those organizations would be interested in doing a project like this. And given the fact that the environment is as such that the favorite projects, obviously, by where people are being attended to, and people are involved in those projects, it would appear to me that now would be such an appropriate time to expand the base statewide, where we can get some people who would naturally be interested, as opposed to trying to wait for others to maybe do this when they got some free time. I would think that expanding the base is critically important.
We can certainly try and do that. I will talk to Seffi Wiles after the meeting and see if we can get some assistance from Bureau of Contract Administration, who I know has worked all through the state with potential
Yeah, I would
contractors.
love to see us
one
do
of the,
that.
One of the concerns, to be honest, that's been expressed to us, even from some of our on-call list contractors who work in other cities or who are based out of other cities, is that they feel they have a competitive disadvantage here in the city of Los Angeles because of our local business preference.
But and I hear you what you're saying, but it's not true of other projects. So what makes this project above and beyond the same environment on the other projects where they currently are attending, correct? Is it something about this project that's different than the other projects in the city of Los Angeles where they're working?
No, I think it's really the specialty aspect. What we're doing is we're taking a forward
Well, you have
theater and turning it
underscored
into a
my
live
concern.
theater.
You have underscored my concern. I accept their explanations. And because I've accepted their explanations, I know it is critically important for us to expand the base to other people who understand this project, whose core value is around creativity. And that means that architects and prime contractors who understand not only the challenge architecturally and in engineering terms of this project's challenge, but they understand the environment where the project is, and they understand the environmental challenge of the project given the demographics of where it is. There are some contractors who are capable of responding to such a unique circumstance. There are some other standard prime contractors for whom this is not a priority. And I don't think it's important for us to dance with them, quite frankly. I think it is time for us to expand the base, to seek those prime contractors whose core values might not be represented in the expediency that we seek to move forward on this particular project. And those people do exist. I just hope that we can act in a way to get closer to them, if it is at all possible.
We will try and make every effort, and assuming this motion is approved today, that'll give us another few weeks to make that outreach effort possible.
And I have one final ask, have we ever done a joint venture on a project like this?
We do have contractors who form joint ventures. That happens on a fairly regular basis, where two general contractors believe that as a combined team, they can bid for the project and have a much more successful project. Sometimes on these specialty projects like this one, where we're creating a fly loft and doing things which are very specific to a live theater, which would not be something normally done in most of our city projects. Yeah, this may be very well a project where we bring in a local general contractor to do the base work, but maybe a joint venture with a contractor.
Would the Bureau of Engineering be open to the potential possibility, not saying you would do it, but would you be open to that possibility in a project like this?
Yes, very much so.
All right, thank you, sir.
Anything further on agenda item number 12? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 12, seconded by Commissioners Rivas and Davis. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 12. Thank you, gentlemen. Neil, have a good weekend. GKU as well. Thank you. Any issue sending number 12 forthwith? We will send number 12 forthwith. Agenda item number 14, requested stop notice for Digital Networks Group Incorporated. Digital Networks Group Incorporated has transmitted a stop notice in the amount of $297,114 for furnishing installation and materials for audio, video, and cabling infrastructure to Neal Electric Corporation and a parent subcontractor in connection with the Los Angeles Police Department Police Academy Replacement Training Facility and Administration Project. Kemp Brothers Construction is the contractor. Mr. Herman, you have a card in on number 14?
Whew. Audio, video, cable, infrastructure. Well, that will be a good subject of matter for the new cadets. This way the cadets can see the transparency of our police department. This way there's no stealing, no borrowing of cruisers or radios and equipment that belongs to we, the public. We, the public, engage in the sovereignty of the Brown Act to uphold by the law of the city charter. Not to confuse anyone that you could just steal from the public, let alone write blank checks for digital networks. But to compromise the integrity of the Los Angeles Police Department, I find the police academy in due of an investigation when it comes to the training facility of our cadets and administration use of buildings. After all, we shouldn't be fucking 15-year-old girls at our barbecues, right, Miss Penny? What about you, Mr. Joe? No comment, right, Joe? I'll tell you why. Because I disagree with cadets getting fucked when they're that young.
This is a stop notice on a renovation
Let me get back on
project,
topic.
Mr. Herman.
Let me get back on topic. You're right. But when the Los
You know what
Angeles
that
Police
is.
Department and the Police Academy replaces training equipment that cadets use during administration building, cafes, shooting ranges, departments, South Central divisions, all these fucking locations where you fuck cadets, I know I'm on topic. So don't confuse me when I'm talking about how police fuck cadets, because I've been fucked by LAPD by my
2
civil
minutes.
liberties.
Mr. Spindler, you have a card in on number 14 for your puppet.
Yeah, I'll take this one. So I want this stop notice released. We need more video and surveillance because we have a number of Los Angeles police officers fucking underage cadets, stealing police cars, and impersonating police officers, including going to the city of Inglewood and doing so. I talked to Mayor Butts about that. Go to the Metro meeting on Thursday. You can talk to Mayor Butts, a very fine man. Former police chief, by the way. Now, Mayor Butts has a message. He does not want your cadets coming from police academy into his city of Inglewood and impersonating LAPD officers, including the Metro contract as well.
This is a stop notice on a
Well, it's
renovation project on
Yes,
a
it's
building.
a stop notice. You're interrupting me. I'm clearly on topic. I'm talking about
You're not
the
on
need.
topic. You're not even near topic.
Talking
You don't
about
even
it,
know what a
rookie.
stop notice is.
I'm talking about it, rookie. This is about surveillance and cabling infrastructure to watch these cops when they're up there bending girls over that are cadets,
It is a
fucking them
stop
in the ass at
notice
the police
on a
academy.
renovation project
This is
on a
why the
building.
digital network is being done, so that people there can monitor and videotape and surveil the cops when they're bringing underage cadets to the police academy and fucking them in the ass.
Stop notice on a renovation
That's the
project on a
reason.
building.
And you're stopping
You even know what
the
that is?
construction. You're stopping the construction of this needed emergency audio, video, and cabling subcontract because they need to immediately go into the police academy and wire it so they can watch if the police officers are raping and fucking the underage cadets. That's the reason for the contract. That's why the stop notice has to be
2
pulled.
minutes.
Is there a second to my motion that we receive agenda item number 14 forthwith? By Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Yes. Dr. Campos, does your math over there indicate that their time is out?
For Mr. Spindler, yes, 10 minutes has been aggregated. For
Thank
Mr.
you.
Herman, we have 10 seconds left.
Oh, that'll be the longest. All right, so let's start with agenda item number 13. Hang on a minute. Council District 6, Japanese Garden Program, fiscal year 2017-18, recommending the board approve an encumbrance amount of $90,000 for garden programs, element enhancement, special events, and non-repetitive projects and services from the Public Works Trust Fund number 835, Department number 50, our department appropriation account 5000 BC. Mr. Herman? Mr. Green, don't go far. He has 10 seconds.
So you see, we have a pimp in CD6 by the name of
7,
Grand Jury.
6, 5, 4, 3.
Time.
Mr. Green on agenda item number 13.
Gene Green.
Welcome, sir.
Good morning, all commissioners, representatives, everyone else. I've seen you all today. Always like to be at the board. So I'm here on agenda item 13 is to encumber $90,000 for the out of the trust fund for voting from the Mayor's Advisory Group on different projects we do, special events, purchases of things like podium stands, canopies, other things through the garden contract, which was granted by the board in 2016.
And this is from the funding that comes in goes into the Public Works Trust Fund. There's an amount that is allocated for the Japanese garden. You're just drawing down from that amount, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions? I notice the motion is from Commissioner Rivas. Okay, I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 13. Thank you for your patience, Mr. Green.
Welcome. Thank you.
Right.
Have a good afternoon.
Any issue sending number 13 forthwith? We'll send number 13 forthwith. Thank you. Agenda item number 15. Mr. Ledoux, an update on the above-ground facilities report for the Bureau of Engineering. I feel like we talk about these a lot lately, but go ahead. Yes, very, very topical and timely. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Ledoux. I work for the Bureau of Engineering Central District. I've asked to do an overview of the AGF program, which stands for Above Ground Facilities. As you have there on the slide, it says, what is an AGF facility? You'll see various pictures there. If you go to the next page, AGFs are structures, cabinets, electric meters, and other appurtenances installed for telecommunication or utility purposes in the surrounding grade in the public right-of-way. The ordinance was passed in 2003, amending the municipal code to include specifications and procedures regulating above-ground facilities in the city. On the history of this, basically, starting in the late 1990s, we had strong consumer demand for telecommunication service, had increased reliance upon electronic communication, and that infrastructure often included these above-ground facilities. And we had a problem with AGFs, or above-ground facilities, causing visual flight in the neighborhoods. Basically, we lacked a clear policy on this, which we got through the AGF ordinance of 2003. Cabinets were not viewed for aesthetics. Cabinets were installed along scenic parkways, and due to that, a moratorium was imposed in 1999. Next, I'll show you a couple examples of poorly placed cabinets. One, they did not take into account pedestrian passage or scenery, and I've seen a number of them that were up against people's driveways. It was pretty bad.
The one on the right is remarkable. Scenic view.
Yes. I mean, I've actually been called out on ones in recent years that looked like that cabinet there in the middle of the sidewalk. Rather than put it where it was, they put it in the middle of the sidewalk. And that's, the reason why they started to look into this whole area of specifications for above-ground facilities. Our policy development problems was if we're too strict, we discourage technology. Too lenient does not address the visual blight, which is what we've been dealing with lately quite a bit. Private property is not always the solution, mainly because private property, my brain isn't working at the moment. Private property applications are easily defeated, and then the only place that they have left to put it is in the public right-of-way. Our own city AGFs often contribute to that blight. I hear about that all the time. Well, why do they have those there and we're not allowed to put them there? So that's something that needs to be looked into. And as you know, everyone wants the service. No one wants it next to their property. When they started to put together the AGF ordinance, there were a lot of stakeholders. Basically, you had homeowner groups, community activists, you had industry representatives there, such as the gas company, telecommunications, as well as city agencies. So everyone was represented when this ordinance was put together. Basically, the above ground facility specifications was drafted in 2001. The board approved it in March of 2001, and City Council approved it in January of 2003. It became effective in March of 2003. The specifics on the policies here is one, we had what we call hardship waivers for those areas that had below ground requirements. That's roughly 15% of the city. You had to demonstrate a financial or technical infeasibility in order to place it above ground in those areas. Services had to benefit the exact area that these installations would be placed in. You had both council district and community input, and had private property investigation to see if they could be put in private property rather than on the public right-of-way. We also looked into 3 areas: height, volume, and density. We limited volume to 36 cubic feet, which did help us out. AT&T's cabinet program, they specifically made their cabinets to fit that 36 cubic feet. In other communities, those cabinets were a lot larger. We also have height requirements. Basically, anything under 2.5 feet or over 5.5 feet needs approval. And we had a density limit of 3 AGFs per city block, and that includes both sides of that street on that block. Also, we have variances for mitigating the excessive height, volume, or density. That's normally what we call our hardship or variance report, saying how are you going to try and make this more powerful in our public right-of-ways. We made them look at and prove that there were no technical or financial alternatives, and we also have cultural affairs look at the design to see if we can't come up with something that is more aesthetically pleasing. The aesthetic requirements on here is that they had to minimize the visual impact. Actually, our current ordinance says they're not supposed to impact the viewscape at all, which can't be done, but it's behind it was to try and minimize that. We have them align their installations in the public right-of-way with telephone poles, street lights, because normally they're in about an 18-inch to 2-foot back from the curve face. So if we align those, then when you're looking up and down the streets, they have minimum impact to the viewscape there. We have landscape for screening, consistent with surroundings. We ask them to put graffiti mitigation coatings on their cabinets. The cabinets do have identifiers, labels saying who owns this cabinet and who to contact in case there is a problem. And the cabinet foundations are supposed to be consistent with the surroundings, meaning if they're in concrete, they're the color of the concrete. If they're in some other media that's a different color, that they match that. We also have public safety requirements. That is that if they are in a collector or local street, that they provide a 4-foot pedestrian passage. If they're in something that's designated highway, they have to have a 6-foot pedestrian passage. Also, as we talked before, we have to have a minimum of 18-inch clearance from the curve face, and they're not allowed to put it in the traffic visibility triangle, which is basically you take the 2 corners where they come together 45 feet both way, and they can't place their installations in that first 45 feet. Basically, as they adhere to all these other things, that normally takes care of the proximity to buildings and structures, keeps them where they should be. Also, the ordinance had a notification requirement, which we did not have prior to the ordinance. We notify the adjoining, which is the property that it's next to, the abutting, the ones on either side, and the across the street. We also notify the council district office, the neighborhood councils, and the homeowners associations. When you're dealing with a question of whether a particular installation, it falls under the above-ground facility ordinance. You look at the definition, and then we have a number of exemption clauses in there. We exempt public facilities such as streetlights, traffic control fixtures, utility poles, fire hydrants, also any telecommunication equipment that's attached to those utility poles or streetlights. We also exempt water flow equipment. Normally we're talking about DWP infrastructure, as well as air valves and ventilation stacks for underground equipment. And anything else that has a specific contract already, such as street furniture, parking meters, that sort of thing. For policy implementation, there is no such thing as an AGF ordinance. It's basically a U permit with above ground requirements, so they have to file for an online U permit request, and the AGF rules are done in conjunction with it. Basically, once we go through the AGF procedure and we approve the AGF, then we turn it over to the U permit people to see if it still qualifies for a permit. If so, we do issue a U permit for that. AGF applications are submitted to AGF group for review prior to issuing these U permits. We also do various correspondence back and forth by email, and all variance and appeals go to the Board of Public Works prior to issuing these U permits. There's a lot of different things that they have to submit to us for the AGF approval. They have to have an online U permit application. We charge $1,000 for each application for AGF, as well as an additional $1,000 if they have a hardship waiver. They have to submit the site plans that shows basically the street, the cross street, what the elevations are, where they're placing this, any center line ties, and landscaping. We get photo rendering before and after. They have to submit specifications of the installation that they're planning on applying for, and they need a preliminary approvals from Cultural Affairs and Bureau of Street Lighting if they're in the 4 feet behind the curb. And if they're in certain undergrounding zones, they have to have a planning department recommendation. They also have to submit a graffiti mitigation plan saying how they are going to maintain these cabinets. They supply us with zoning information, and all notifications by the applicant are done by registered mail, so that we guarantee that somebody has to sign for these things, and so the people who are notified will get these notifications. As far as staff review, obviously we plan check these things, make sure that they have all the documentation that's required by municipal code and that it is correct. Occasionally we will do a field check if we don't like what we see in the application. We have set aside 2 weeks for a community response. Basically, once we've certified the application is complete, that's when we open up the 14-day appeal window. We provide a contact person and their phone number and for people to ask questions and how also to appeal these things. Let's see here. The notification that says that they qualify for appeal, the applicant, but is opening up this 14-day appeal window is set out by our office, and basically the application says it is deemed complete, it does qualify for a permit, but they can appeal this if they so choose or ask for information on it. As we said, interdepartmental coordination. We do have Cultural Affairs for approval of design, street lighting if it's in the first 4 feet, and Planning Department if it's in specific plan areas. The notification pattern, this is called Attachment C in the ordinance. You will never find it in the ordinance. If for some reason it didn't make it in there, but this is the basis on which we do our notification of these different properties. The notice of determination, like I said, does send it to specific properties. Currently, we use the county assessor's records, and so it's mainly sent to property owners per se. It's not often sent to residents unless we get a call for one and they ask us, can you send us a copy of the notice, and we will do so. And it opens up the 2-week period, and appeals do cost them $100. And there is no provision to waive that $100 appeal fee. For board approvals, it says if there's no appeal filed, then there's no request for a variance or hardship waiver. The determination is final. That's the Bureau of Engineers determination, and at that point, we go ahead and issue a permit. If there is any appeal or request for a variance or hardship waiver, as you know, it does require board approval. Legal issues and challenges here. Basically, there's a number of different laws that regulate permitting agencies. One is California Public Utilities Code 7901.1, and that says utilities access to the public right-of-way. Municipalities may exercise control, place, or manner. We call time, place, and manner, meaning we can put them under a permitting scheme. We can put aesthetic requirements on them, and we can move the installation around as long as it can still function. Utility poles attachments are currently exempted from that permitting process. We also have the Telecommunication Act of 1996, which basically limits municipal governments. It says, no, we cannot regulate wireless facilities on the basis of environmental effects or public perception of RF radiation. Basically, the FCC says that these are monitored and are safe to the public, and therefore we are not allowed to deny a permit or ask that these installations be moved on the basis of health risks. More recently, we've had a number of FCC rulings. We had the 90 and 150-day shot clock in November of 2009, which basically said that if it's a brand new installation, we have 150 days in which to issue a permit. If it's a co-located site, we have 90 days in which to issue that permit. At the end of that time frame, if we have not issued a permit, the applicant has the right to take us to the court. They have to do so within 30 days. If not, the shot clock starts over. More recently, in April of 2015, we got the 60-day shot clock ruling. That's where you have an existing co-located site that's being upgraded. The only qualification for the 60-day is that we did permit the original site. If we did not, then even though they're upgrading a co-located site, it's under the 90-day shot clock. The difference between the 60 and the other two is that it is deemed complete upon written notice of violation of that 60-day shot clock. Then earlier this year, in January 2000, or I should say last year, 2016, the California passed a new code that basically says the 90 and the 150-day shot clocks are under the same or similar rules to the 60-day, in that at the end of that period of time, if we receive written notice of violation of that time period, the permit is deemed approved. Our challenges are basically to limit, as we know, the amount of new installations, especially monopoles within the public right-of-way. Mainly that's done by co-location. And another one would be, to me anyway, is to seek a way to co-locate more electric meters on DWP poles rather than having to put in the meter cabinets. The meter cabinets tend to be a far greater nuisance than even the monopoles, in that they're bigger surface for graffiti. People tend to congregate around them. Trash piles up around them. A number of things happen. And the more of those that we can co-locate on DWP poles instead of doing a cabinet, the better off the public right-of-way would be. Future outlook and next steps. One would be basically when the applicants, most of the telecom companies designed their system, they designed it for telephones. They did not design them for the current infrastructure or the products that they do that are no longer a telephone. They're basically a telephone and a miniature computer. And so they may have coverage, but the telecom industry is lacking capacity. And that's why we're seeing all these new requests for installations to try and solve that problem. The telecom company needs to continue to put in more and more of these to keep up with consumer demand. These installations cost a lot of money, and they do not put them up if they aren't going to serve their customers and be able to make a profit on there. So this is mainly consumer driven, all these new installations we're seeing. And the other thing, the challenge is the changing regulations that are continually restricting our rights or to regulate permits for these kind of installations. Basically, a number of things are in the works right now. As you know, there is a law being studied by the state right now dealing with the discretionary authority of permitting agencies in slowing down and regulating new installations. In a lot of ways, there's things that we could do to streamline our system and make it easier and a quicker turnaround on these things which we need to explore. We are exploring, as you know, ways to co-locate this. Our recent talks with Bureau of Street Lighting and LA Department of Transportation are along those lines. I think one of the areas that needs to be explored further is co-location on LA DOT's signal poles. It is a mixed bag when it comes to permitting these things to be co-located. In the municipalities around us, some of them allow it, some of the cities do not. So there are cities who do allow co-location on traffic poles, and so that's something that we need to explore further. Other things would be, in the Bureau of Engineering, they have streamlined certain things. You have a counter that has all the agencies on it for doing various permits. For case management, they put all the different departments in representatives in one group in order to make large building permits easier to obtain and quicker. Something like that could be done with the U-Permit AGF process, do more of a one-stop entity. And that's basically the end of the PowerPoint presentation. Are there any questions?
How many folks do you have working with you on this in the Bureau of Engineering?
How many what?
How many people on your team?
I'm the only full-time person doing AGS for the entire city. That was not always so back in 2006. Prior to 2006, there was one person also dedicated. In 2006, AT&T rolled out its major light-speed cabinet program. We put together a team of about 5 or 6 people. And then over time, all that was left was me. And it has basically stayed that ever since, although obviously my boss, Noah here, which his last day here, does help me out, and I do have one of the engineering associates trained to do plan checking and go through these different applications, but basically it's me.
I thought that was the case. Remarkable, number one. Number two, we've worked together now on these items starting year 5, and you've just done a terrific job in this area, Jeff. I mean,
thank you.
These are complicated issues. They are sensitive issues. They are political issues. They're quality of life issues. All these things that happen, they're related to technology, and we have real competing interests. So I appreciate the work and your advocacy in the area in general. We have a lot more to do in this area that we know outside of our walls and our forces. But thanks for staying in. We talk about these so regularly anyway, substantively, often that unless I hear something from my colleagues that sparks an interest, I'm not that I feel like I need to delve into. I don't really have any questions. Just thank you for your work. Commissioner Repenning?
Sure, thank you. I also want to thank you, Jeff, for the presentation and also for your work. You've got a huge workload on a very, as the president said, sensitive topic. You do a great job for us, and I know it's you're trying to balance things, so it's not always easy. But we appreciate your work on these. I think it's great to hear your presentation because I think it's a good time. We've been not being the lead commissioner on this, I haven't been as involved, but I think for me starting to see the cabinets sort of evolve into monopoles has been a time to say, hey, let me really figure out, kind of to see if we can take a step back on this topic. And I think it's a tough one because we have a sense of what the bigger picture is and what the future is going to bring, but we don't know that exactly. And we're never going to have a comprehensive idea. I mean, you and I talked about the fact that we're not going to hear from the telecoms companies about what they're planning.
No, we aren't.
For a bunch of different reasons. So they're not going to tell us what their overall plan for LA looks like and everything they want everywhere. And part of that is that the technology is constantly evolving, as are the regulations. And so on their end too, I mean, they're trying to negotiate those changing factors. But in the absence of a real detailed and concrete picture of exactly what's coming, I mean, we can kind of sense what it is, and I think for us to best prepare for the fact that, I mean, there's just gonna be in general a demand for technology infrastructure. Our mayor supports it. Our mayor wants our communities to have these services. He wants them to have the best. So how do we do that in a way that makes sense for the city, that makes sense for our neighborhoods? Is there a financial benefit that we can achieve by using our own infrastructure in addition to whatever an aesthetic benefit may be? I think it's a good time to at least for me, to kind of look into those issues as we continue to monitor a piece of legislation at the state that would have a pretty big impact on what we're trying to do. But in the meantime, thank you for your work, for your leadership, and we will continue talking.
Thank you, Commissioner Penning. Commissioner Rivas?
Thank you for the overview and the history. It was very helpful for me to learn of how the ordinance, all the dates and the history of it. I know you do a lot, and it's sometimes very, in addition to your workload, all of the issues and dealing with us, residents, and the telecom companies. I'm sure you have to,
Yes.
You get a lot of pressure from all of those groups.
I have a number of bosses.
Yes, and then plus the Bureau of Engineering, I'm sure, yes. But from what I understand, with 5G coming up,
Yes.
right? That's the next technology in telecom, is that it's going to require the cells or these attachments or AGFs to be closer together, or there'll just be a lot more placed throughout the city. Is that correct?
One of the problems when they get these 1G, 2G, 3G, 4Gs is they didn't build their equipment so that they could just place a modular unit in there and put it all together. It's like it's separate infrastructure each time they bring out a new G generation. And because that's the way it seems to be, because I've asked them about that, because you have poles out there, they have equipment for 1G, 2G, 3G, and it's not always integrated. So when they roll out a whole new level, it's like they need a whole new infrastructure in order to do it.
Yeah, that was my question, whether, with 5G coming, which seems to be going to require even more of infrastructure,
right?
Are they preparing now and installing more 4G so then they can replace it? Or, because there seems, last time we heard from one of the telecom companies that they have a lot more, or they have lots of applications coming up, hundreds,
yes.
Right? I don't know if you know, but do you know if that's to prepare for 5G so they already have some existing infrastructure?
They really don't have anything as far as I'm aware for 5G yet. Like I said, it's almost like we're starting from scratch each time they do a new generation to the next level. That's what predicates this, and they're all sort of behind the 8 ball when it comes to capacity. And the problem is each time you go, say, 2G, 3G, 4, 5, the amount of bandwidth needed also increases, and they're already behind the 8 ball when it comes to bandwidth.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for a comprehensive report, and I wanted to know, in terms of your slides, can you have a copy of those available for the commissioners, your slide and your presentation?
I did send a copy to Dr. Campos, so he does have this in electronic form.
We can get copies for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Commissioner Davis read my mind. I was going to ask for that. just helpful for us across the board. I feel like I know most of it, but it's nice to have a reference point. So thank you. Mr. Jordan?
Yeah, I just want to say, as you know, I rarely like to speak on items, but I just want to let you know, I've been working with Jeff now for quite a while, and he does a fantastic job on this. So what he does makes not only your job easier, but my job easier. I think his presentation was very good, very accurate, and it's a constantly changing legal environment. So something that this board, I think, is aware of, the changes that are sort of being talked about. Those changes have been talked about in the past and have been abandoned, but, there's a new change now seeking to essentially remove this department, indeed this city's ability to limit the installation going on all of our vertical infrastructure in the right-of-way, whether it's a street light, utility pole, traffic light, everything. So, and Jeff has been keeping on top of this. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in.
Yes, thank you. And I would just, to pile on a little bit on Jeff will do Appreciation Day, that you do the work of, because of what Mr. Jordan just referenced, we're obviously in communication with folks that are related to this kind of work in other cities. And there are many cities that are a fraction the size of us that have a larger staff than you, which means that you are operating efficiently and effectively for the LA taxpayers, and we can't ask much more than that.
Thank you.
So thank you, sir. We really appreciate it. That said, the oral report will be received, and in the next budget round, Mr. Ledoux, you and I will visit to see if we can get you some assistance with our city engineer. Thank you. I appreciate it. Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Mr. President, this takes you back to public comments and also closing of the neighborhood council commentary
Right.
section.
So we will close the neighborhood council category, and unless you are interested in staying here for the public comment arena, we are adjourned other than that. So for general public comment, Mr. Herman, you have a general public comment card. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. And these guys don't either.
Yeah, I'd like to state for the record on Monday, July 17, 2017, under Section B3, City Hall critic strikes a deal. The racial taunt held by what? Fake gun charges, fake public comment cards, and he's contested to a mere...
Would you hold Mr. Herman's time for just a moment? Mr. Jordan, do we have any jurisdiction over that at the Board of Public Works?
I believe the matter he's referring to is not within the board's jurisdiction.
Right. So general public comment is for what's related to the jurisdiction of the Board of Public Works. So go ahead, Mr. Campos, with his time. Go ahead, Mr. Herman.
Well, regarding this, it's really relevant because the city attorney, Mr. Spindler, was speaking on behalf of public interest in defending the public from corruption, abuse, fraud, waste, and the stealing that most of you do today. So that dumbass Danny Bakewell has not applied good favor in Mr. Spindler's case, nor did Herman Jason Wesson Jr., a.k.a. fucking asshole Herb. And that's for the record. And in regards to how this commission provides public services under Willits versus Los Angeles in argument to sidewalk and streets, fuck you too, white nigger Jews, because we want our streets and sidewalks fixed. Take the goddamn money and fix the infrastructure of our sidewalk and streets so there is no slip and fall. And then going back to the city attorney Mike Fuhr's office, dated April, under the so-called false charges against Mr. Spindler, stop fucking with white America. Let us have our presidency under Trump to waive our rights under the sovereignty of the Constitution of First Amendment and 14th Amendment
2 minutes.
protection. Fuck you.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. Mr. Spindler, you have a card in for your puppet.
Yes. So as we can see here, a motion for summary judgment against Herman Jason Wesson Jr. Now, you know, 2 of your commissioners just rudely walked out, leaving only 2. Stay in the seats. You're getting fucking paid for this job, and take your goddamn medicine. You know what? You fucked me over with my life. It's all in this fucking shit. Don't fucking walk out of here and give me some fucking attitude that you're not going to listen to what I have to say about this shit. You know, I don't need that fucking attitude. You people are city employees. You violate civil rights. You don't fucking even give South Central $5 to fix a sidewalk. I've been to those public meetings. You guys don't even fucking know what's going on. You know, so you think you fucking people are better than me? You think you're all that shit? No, you just have a lot of fucking money and a lot of attorneys like Mike Fuhrer, Eugene Hall Jr., Hugo Rossiter that should be fucking disbarred. I file a bar complaint against Hugo Rossiter, and they don't want to investigate it because the client won't waive the privilege. Who the fuck is the client? He doesn't even know who his client is. And these motherfuckers want to walk out of here and don't want to listen to the important facts. You lied, you defamed me, you used Danny Bakewell, Englander, Kanabi, and Allen on top of it to do what? To take my fucking bar card? You stupid motherfucker. I had a protected right to free speech, just like now. It was no different than last year, and Herb Wesson lied. Here's the audio recording I'm going to give to the federal court. This guy was not afraid of shit. He even said so in the newspapers. And you, Davis, you stand the fuck there and defend this perjuring son of a bitch to add credibility to him as a city employee. The fuck are you? Okay? So that's what you do. You wanted me, you create the monster you make. So sit in the fucking chairs, the 2 fucking women, and listen to the music.
Thank you. We are adjourned.